and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am going to be sewing a pair of pants inspired by these photos. And so the fabric I'm using is this striped, very lightweight cotton. And I made the pattern already, and I've made 2 pairs of pants with this pattern, and it fits perfectly. It took me a long time to get there, but I finally did it. Alright, so I've got the front panels cut out. I've got the back panels cut out. And then I've got pockets. And then the waistband. I think I'm gonna have a waist tie, kind of like on sweatpants where there's a tie, and then the waist is gonna be elastic. So I'm going to start sewing this together and see how it goes. Alright, so I am doing a French seam. So when you're doing a French seam, you attach, when you sew it together, you put the 2 wrong sides of the fabric together. So the right side of the fabric is on the outside, and you sew that together. I'm going to trim the seam allowance down to like 1/8 of an inch. Right now it's I think 1/4 of an inch. So I'm going to trim it down to 1/8 of an inch. Then after I trim it, I'm going to fold it. Yes. Okay, for a second I thought I had it backwards, but I am going to fold it over once I trim it. Here's the right side of the fabric, the raw edges. I'm going to fold it in. So now the right sides of the fabric will be facing each other, and you're going to then be sandwiching the raw edge in between the 2 fabrics, and then you're going to sew along here like either a 1/2 inch seam allowance or a 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way down your seam, and then you can turn it right sides out and you will get a nice finished edge on both the right side of the fabric and the wrong side of the fabric. So once I've done all that, I will show you the finished seam. Okay, now that I've sewn together the French seam, this is the inside, so the wrong side. You can see there's a nice finished edge. And then when you open the fabric, and this is the inside, no, this is the outside, so the right side of the fabric, you can see it's a nice finished seam. So now both sides are nice and finished, and the raw edge is encased inside this piece here, in here. So now this is the back of the pants all sewn together, and then I did the same thing on the front of the pants. They're all sewn together. So next I'm going to, I'm going to sew the pockets on, or should I? Yeah, I'm going to sew the pockets on, and then I'll sew the legs together and attach the waist. just top stitched it down to make it a little more heavy duty. I've got all the legs. I've got this sewn together. I've got the inseam sewn together. And now, yes, they look very large. But I'm going to put a waistband and I'll scrunch it down. And then I'll have some nice lightweight pants. I love how the pockets turned out. Like, you can barely see that there's pockets, but... The last thing I need to do for the pants is put a waistband, put elastic, and then I'm going to hem the pants. I'm going to make a channel in the bottom and then put elastic so it kind of like bunches up on the bottom. Like that. So, that's what's left to be done. Okay, my buttonhole machine thingy didn't work, so I had to freehand on the machine the buttonholes. Well, they're not buttonholes, the waist tie holes. But I've got those sewn, so I can cut those out. And now all I need to do is sew this to the pants. So I'm going to do that. Then we can add elastic. So, for the waistband, I wanted to do 1-inch elastic, but I don't have any left, so I just sewed channels down, 2 channels for this 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch elastic. I think it's 1/2 inch. It's 1/2 inch. I wanted to do 2 inch, but I only have 1/2 inch. So, we're going to make it work. But to figure out how stretchy your waistband you want, just wrap it around your waist and figure out how much you need. Let's see here. I want it to be comfortably tight. So we're going to just pull on it just a little bit. And then I'm going to cut it to the length. So here's my waist length. I'm going to cut 2 because I need 2 of these 2 strands. Alright, now that I have my elastic, I need a big safety pin. Alright, I've got 2 safety pins. I'm going to pin 1 in each elastic so that we can thread it through the channels I made. Alright, so I've got the safety pins on the elastic, and then in the back here, at the front, that's the front. In the back, I have a opening where I can slide in the elastic, and I'm doing the top channel first. They're all done. I'll show you the cuffs that I put on the bottom. Hopefully they're not too tight because I had like hardly any elastic left. That was 1.5 inches, but that's what the cuff looks like on the bottom of the pants. And then the waistband turned out so cute with the little ties. Actually, this tie is actually from my hoodie. It came out, and so I decided just to use it for that. And then the pockets, they're nice and deep. Yeah, the pants are all done. Now it's time for the reveal.